Good evening everyone, my name is Parker Byrne.
My name is Megan Kerr.
And we are coming to you live from UL News headquarters here with breaking news from West Germany.
The peace of the Munich Olympics was shattered at dawn this morning, about 5 o'clock, when Palestinian radicalists, armed with submachine guns, disguised through darkened faces, false guard uniforms, and trashmen, climbed the fence, went into the headquarters of the Israeli team, and immediately killed one man, Coach Moshe Weinberg.
The guerrillas are from one of the very left-wing groups known as Black September. Just hours ago, they killed 11 members of the Israeli Olympic team, as well as a German police officer. The Olympics of strangely have become the one thing the Germans did not want it to become, the Olympics of terror.
We now go to John K. Cooley, reporting in Munich with an update on the situation. John?
Thank you, Megan. This is John K. Cooley reporting from Munich, where chaos has ensued in the second week of the Olympics, with a major terrorist situation ongoing in the Olympic Village. It is believed that several terrorists of the Palestinian terrorist group Black September are currently holding 11 Israeli Olympic team members hostage. Their demands include the release of 234 Palestinian prisoners imprisoned in Israel and the release of Andreas Bader and Ulrich Meinhof, leaders of the Red Army faction jailed in Germany. The terrorists are holding firm and seem unwilling to accept anything less than their demands, with tensions rising every minute that passes. Negotiations continue between the German authorities and Black September, with reports coming through to our studio that the terrorists have been offered infinite amount of money, with the reply simply being, "Money means nothing to us, our lives mean nothing to us." This is a disastrous situation for Germany, and one that Willy Brandt, the German Chancellor, will hope to fix as soon as possible. A huge problem for the German government is the Israeli hostages being of the Jewish religion. The last thing Germany needs is a slaughter of more Jews on their soil following the events of World War II, which the country expected to fully move on from by hosting this year's Olympics. A short time ago at 4:30 p.m, it is reported that a German police force consisting of 38 members was sent into the Olympic Village to combat the terrorists. The police were dressed in official Olympic outfits. Their plan is thought to have been to manoeuvre their way down from the ventilation shafts and eliminate the terrorists. As the police got into their positions and awaited the code word "sunshine" to launch their attack, a problem arose. It is now suspected that the terrorists were watching live images on television of the police preparing the attack. We can now show you the images of one of the members of Black September stepping out from the balcony and looking down, while a German police officer was on the roof 20 feet from him. The police retreated from the area when the terrorists threatened to murder two of the hostages. Back to you in the studio, Megan.
We now go live to the scene of the incident with our reporter on the ground, Barry O'Shea. Barry?
Just last night, the Palestinian terrorists from Black September took 11 Israeli Olympic team members hostage and killed them, all the German police officers. I'm very grateful and thankful to say that I'm joined by Irish Olympic on the fact. Thank you so much, Thomas, for Mr. China. You're also supposed to be experience, we really appreciate it. I don't mind asking, can you give us a sense of more your location? Were you close to the things that were taking place?
I was very close. When we got the door to the left, 40 meters, Israeli building. I was in a little higher, 5 floors, and Israel was 2 floors. I remember that line very well. We weren't all sure what was going on. So the office didn't make sense that we could get around freely as the beginning at the front of our building had been blocked off. But as the hours passed, we found out that everything had been everything dead.
So the time you use, you couldn't really be recovering really far away.
Correct. That actually wasn't well, and I couldn't get out of the complex for the sun. Some environment was in the film, as well as the with the police, armed personnel, dressed as sportsmen, with machine guns and long weapons, calling out the Israelis, Jewish trying to rescue gathering. But I also filmed the kidnappers. I was on top of them overhead, disfigured their faces, coming out of the balcony and we were watching the situation.
So we're not sure your opinion on the matter, Carl, but do you think the Olympic Committee would feel the same? And ultimately, what decision do you think we made in the end of that decision?
Well, the economic power of the Olympic Games was what decided that the Games should be suspended only momentarily and then continue. The famous Roman circus had to carry on despite the fact that there were people who had died, who were sports people, our colleagues. And I think if that had happened today, the Games would never have carried on.
Brilliant. Well, look, we thank you again, Conor, for joining us today. Is there anything that you'd like to add, Conor?
From the team of Ireland and everyone in the Olympic Village, we send our thoughts and to our love to our family and friends that are associated with these poor innocent men whose lives are taken much too quickly. Israel, we love you and we will support you.
Thank you, Conor.
Thanks.
Back to Megan, back to you, Padraig.
We now go live to Eamon, who is in the Olympic Park. Eamon, what do you have for us?
where just a few days ago we've been celebrating these wonderful games and the achievements of some wonderful athletes, such as American swimmer Mark Spitz, who won a record 7 gold medals. However, the positive atmosphere which has surrounded these games has now been replaced with shock and horror as we learn more about the events which are taking place over the last few hours at the Olympic Village. These games, which have been billed as the games of peace and joy, are to be just the opposite. The major question on everybody's mind now is about whether or not the games will continue as planned. We've heard that many are opposed to the games continuing due to safety concerns and out of respect for the dead. However, despite this tragedy, many hope to continue the Olympic spirit and carry on the games, a sentiment which is held by the head of the IOC, Avery Brundage. He today said that, quote, "We have only the strength of a great idea. I'm sure that the public will agree that we cannot allow a handful of terrorists to destroy this nucleus of international cooperation and goodwill which we have in the Olympic movement." The message so far from the IOC then is that the games must go on. This outlook is echoed by Team Israel chief Shmuel Lackland, who is supporting the IOC's decision and insists that there will be no postponement of the games and that all must continue, as he puts it, in the spirit of sportsmanship. Brundage today spoke at the Olympic Stadium in front of 80,000 people who had gathered to pay respects to those who have been lost. There has been much debate about whether or not the games will go ahead, but the message is clear following Brundage's determined address, and the games are now expected to continue following this day of mourning, with events now taking place 24 hours after they were originally scheduled. The decision has so far been met well, with the general consensus being that continuing the games is the appropriate response to such a barbarous act. We now move to try and recapture the Olympic spirit as a tribute to those who we have lost. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Em. We now go live to our Middle Eastern expert, Ciara Minogue.
Ciara, thank you for joining us. Tell us what you know about these unfortunate set of circumstances.
Hi Megan. While this attack on Munich Games was most certainly unexpected, it's indeed due to a long history of violence and political unrest between Palestine and Israel. So far, it is known to us that the terrorist leader, going by the code name ISA, issued a set of demands for the release of 236 prisoners, mostly Palestinians held in Israeli jails, and 2 from German prisons by 9 a.m. for their safe passage to the Arab country.
What is the major history behind this attack?
While there are certainly both long and short-term causes for this attack, as I previously stated, it is due to a long-term clashing political climate between both Israel and Palestine. The conflict originally began around 1880 due to a large influx of Jews into Palestine. This immediately enraged Arabs who believed that the homeland was sacred and that this immigration of the Jewish religion was a violation of their beliefs. This tension increasingly rose over time. Tensions increased in 1947 when the United Nations decided to divide Palestine into 3 separate states, a Jewish state, an Arab state, and a UN-governed state. This Jewish state became known as Israel and consisted of a large majority of the territory. This led to an outbreak of civil war from the years 1947 to 1948. The 6 Days War then broke out between Israel and their neighbouring Arab state in 1967. This led to an expulsion of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to Jordan. Black September is most likely a smaller unit of the Palestinian Liberation Organization known as PLO.
In your opinion, why is Israel's participation in the Olympic Games so significant this year?
Well, there are many reasons for this significance of this year's Olympic Games, but many of you may not know that this year's Games were the first to be broadcast live on Israeli television. This created a huge sense of emotion and excitement throughout the nation. It was a chance for the country to prove itself against its Western opponents.
Do you believe that this incident will lead to further chaos between the 2 nations?
Well, the answer to this question is not simple. However, it is indeed clear that the massacre of these 11 athletes will undeniably leave a lasting stain on the relationship between Germany and Israel. We can only hope that there is no retaliation on behalf of the Israelis.
And that is a hope we will all hold to as well. Thank you for your time, Ciara.
Thank you.
We go now to Kate Harris, our Olympic Committee representative.
Kate, what can be said about the decision to suspend the Olympic Games after the horror that has been experienced?
About the decision to continue the Games despite this horror that has been experienced. Well, the reaction to this horrible act of violence was to suspend the Games, which is very significant. This is the first time the Olympics have been suspended since the modern competition began in 1896.
Who ordered this suspension?
Willie Daum, the president of the West German organising committee called a meeting to decide whether the games would be able to continue, and according to reports he wanted to cancel the games altogether out of respect for the victims. However, Mr. Avery Brundage, the retiring president of the International Olympic Organisation, along with other members of the organisation, did not allow this to happen.
Has there been any further commentary?
Brundage has publicly declared at the morning ceremony for the murdered Israeli competitors that we cannot allow a handful of terrorists to destroy this nucleus of international cooperation and goodwill. The games must go on, he declared, to which he was met by some applause.
How has this declaration been interpreted?
This applause is being seen by some as insensitive, but I think it also gives an insight into the public support for the continuation of the Games despite the horror of these terrorist attacks.
And how have Olympic athletes from other countries reacted?
Mark Spitz, a Jewish-American athlete and winner of 7 gold medals, has reportedly left Munich in the aftermath of these attacks, fearing for his safety. Moreover, some of the Egyptian team have withdrawn from the Games.
It sounds as if things are getting very tense very quickly. Thank you so much for your time, Kate. We now go to Josh Kelly, who is the Munich security expert for the Olympic Games.
Josh, in light of the recent events that have shocked the globe, what is the stance of the German authorities in regards to the Munich massacre?
Hi. Well, first I would like to express my deepest condolences to all the families who have so heartbreakingly lost their loved ones. Yeah, but despite the authorities saying that the events could not have been avoided, Manfred Schreiber, who is the police chief in Munich, he admitted that their law enforcement were ill-prepared as they were trained just to deal with everyday problems that would arise due to such a massive event like at the Olympic Games taking place. However, after warnings were given to the authorities before the game, necessary security measurements should have been put in place.
What warnings were given to the authorities?
Well, German authorities received warnings from nations such as the USA and China, which was only hearsay and just what they have heard from their own people on the ground. But interestingly, in the build-up to the Games, the Munich Olympics Committee asked a psychologist with the police named George Sieber to come up with some worst-case security scenarios so that they could maybe put some adequate measurements in place if some event was to take place, which put the public or the Games in danger. Sieber came up with 26 different scenarios. These scenarios that Sieber foresaw were attacks on the Games by either the IRA, the Red Army faction, or the ETA from the Basque region in northern Spain, and some other terrorist groups. But amazingly, Sieber's scenario 21 is almost identical to the events that occurred here in Munich at the hands of the terrorist group Black September. This goes from everything from the Palestinian gunmen scaling the fence of the Olympic Village in the early hours of the morning down to the demands made by the terrorist group. Even after all these scenarios, an inquiry conducted by the German federal government, the Bavarian government and the Munich police found that the attack was completely unavoidable. This, which I think goes without saying, was so that they can look to come out of this situation completely blameless.
Amazing. But Josh, why weren't these scenarios taken seriously even after asking for them?
Shockingly, the Games Committee saw that if they were to set security measures in place to counteract any of these scenarios, this would not comply with the vision that they had set for the Games. The slogan for the Olympics is the Happy Games. And if you were walking down the street and you saw a policeman armed with a gun at every street corner, people would then say that the slogan is more ironic than accurate. But within hours after the attack, Sieber was dismissed from his advisory position, which in my opinion was the wrong decision. However, the only mistake made by the authorities was not just dismissing the warnings that they received prior to the attack. There were many errors along the way that led to the Games being dubbed a massacre. Probably the biggest one being that the press was not removed from the Olympic Village. Furthermore, the building where the terrorists were holding up still had electricity, meaning that the terrorists were able to see where the police were situating their snipers by just turning on the local news channel. Unfortunately, in hindsight is a brilliant thing, So from the beginning, I believe the police were always fighting a losing battle.
Thank you, Josh. We now go live to the Irish ambassador in Israel, James Fitzgerald. James, what has the reaction of the Israeli people been on the news of this terrorist attack in Munich?
It's what you expect to be, Patrick. The Israeli people are naturally outraged this event has happened, or more outraged this event has taken place on foreign soil, placing the lives of many nationalities at risk, not just the lives of our own athletes. The Israeli people are also outraged that the events of the Holocaust have been forgotten, since Jewish people are persecuted in all parts of the world. The 11 family members of the hostages taken have waited patiently this morning for news on their loved ones. Unfortunately, the murders of wrestling coach Moshe Weinberg and already injured weightlifter Yosef Romanov, who both trying to attempt the disarmament of their captors, unfortunately died. This news has left the nation in a state of prayer and sorrow. The government and Israeli people would like to express their condolences before questions continue to the German officer killed in the area yards this morning. And also, we would like to express our condolences to the 9 athletes who we now know have been killed in a botched attempt at Fürstenfeldbruck airfield.
Has there been any communication between the Olympic Committee and the Israeli government?
Well, the mayor has made an announcement to world leaders in the Olympic Committee during the counter-terrorism proceedings. She has asked the world to save our citizens and condemn the unspeakable criminal acts that have been committed. It has been largely ignored amongst Arab leaders of the world. The government has asked the Olympic Games be suspended until the hostages have been rescued and the terrorists either killed or captured. And the Games is only given to anger amongst the Israeli people.
What should we expect to see from the Israeli government in response to the actions from the PLO?
There more likely be some form of retaliation from the Baltimore government. Here in Israel, the news of terrorist attacks in this country are common. The hear of terrorist attacks abroad are not. In May, was Sabina Flight 571 hijacked en route to Lod Airport in Tel Aviv by terrorist leader Ali Hassan Salameh. And only 2 weeks later after that, 24 people were killed at the very same airport. America cannot obtain UN permission or the permission of more difficult governments who we know are supporting the PLO, then undercover operations are surely to commence under the operation codename Wrath of God, in order to eliminate operatives and organisers such as Abu Daoud, who we believe planned the Munich attack.
We will look forward to hearing any further words from the Golden Mirror and any further actions in response to this attack.
Of course. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, James.
Thank you to all of the panelists and journalists who have responded. We here at UL News extend our condolences to the families of those affected.
As always, we will keep you updated as this story progresses. And I'm Warwick O'Byrne.
I'm Megan Kerr.
Bringing you the story here at UL News. Thank you.
Thank you.